Year 2187. 10,000 people wake up at the same time inside a spaceship. None of them remember their names. None of them remember their past. None of them recognize the world they see. They don't know how they got there. They don't know why they are there. They only know one thing. The ship is hovering over a planet that does not exist in their minds, but which beats with a terrifying familiarity. But what they have forgotten. They are about to discover that the greatest danger on this planet is not what it hides. 10,000 subjects regained consciousness in less than 30 seconds in different modules of the ship. The initial reaction was disorientation. They tried to identify each other. There were no names. There were no memories. During the first few minutes, there was no panic. The behavior was analytical. The ship was operational. Energy stable. Systems active. No damage, no alerts. No instructions. After 9 minutes, the same questions arose. Where are we? Who brought us here? Why can't we remember anything? None of them were answered. The realization that the amnesia was collective marked an immediate change. Stress levels rose exponentially. The fear did not arise from the environment. It arose from the absence of memory. The ship remained motionless. The descent protocol was not activated. The experiment entered an unforeseen phase. The reality check had begun. After several days, the only common memory emerged. Everyone remembered Earth, but no one remembered how they had left it. With no answers inside the ship, the only option was to continue with the planned protocol and open the exterior. The sensors confirmed a breathable atmosphere, stable composition, gravity within functional parameters, temperature compatible with human life without additional equipment. This data was decisive. The subjects assumed that the planet was not immediately hostile. However, none of them could identify it. It did not appear in any conscious memory or in the fragments of technical knowledge that some seem to partially retain. The sky had a different hue than that recorded on Earth as we know it. The clouds were denser. The light cycle did not match any familiar pattern. Vegetation was the next disruptive element. Uncontrolled growth, uncatalogued species, complex, expansive organic structures with no trace of recent intervention. There were no roads. There were no marks. There were no signs of exploitation. The environment showed no traces of active civilization. It didn't seem virgin either. Subsequent analyses describe a shared feeling among the subjects. The planet didn't seem strange. It seemed ancient, as if it belonged to a forgotten stage of something familiar. The comparison with Earth arose spontaneously, and it was dismissed almost instantly. The atmosphere was different. The biology was different. The natural balance followed rules that did not fit the learned models. Despite this, the body adapted quickly. That detail did not go unnoticed. Records show a significant increase in unease when the subjects realized that the planet was not their intended destination. Nor did it seem to be a navigation error. The environment offered no answers, but it did not reject their presence either. The hypothesis of being on Earth was considered for the first time and unanimously rejected. The planet did not match any known memory of their home world. The exploration continued. Without knowing it yet, the subjects had just taken their first step outside the ship. And the first step into a truth they could not yet accept. The absence of information created an immediate need for explanation. The subjects began to formulate theories to make sense of their situation. Experiment, navigation error, punishment, simulation, none could be verified. The lack of memory prevented the establishment of clear hierarchies. There were no ranks, positions, or backgrounds that would allow the group to be organized in a stable manner. Interpretations multiplied. Some subjects attempted to reconstruct technical knowledge from disconnected fragments. Others questioned the reality of their surroundings. A third group assumed that the situation was intentional. Collective behavior began to fracture. Uncertainty became contagious. Hypotheses spread faster than any confirmed data. Discussions increased. Decisions were no longer shared. Fear ceased to be an individual reaction. It became a collective phenomenon. Records show a sustained increase in episodes of anxiety, erratic behavior, and verbal confrontations. From that moment on, the main risk factor was no longer the planet. It was the subjects themselves. The experiment entered a phase of instability. On the fifth day, the ship's systems activated an unsolicited automatic log. It was not an external file. It was an internal protocol. The system began issuing maintenance alerts that did not correspond to actual damage, checks on systems that had not yet been used. Replacements of parts that were not yet worn out. The subjects did not understand the origin of the warnings. The ship was behaving as if it had already completed its mission. Upon accessing the technical logs, a disturbing piece of information appeared. The return cycle counter was not at 0. It read 1. The files associated with the previous cycle were blocked, not for security, but for redundancy. The system considered them to be information that had already been executed. It wasn't the first time. The protocol didn't mention exploration, colonization, or settlement. It mentioned critical return. The term was repeated in different modules, always linked to the same criterion: depletion of the environment of origin. The ship was not waiting for human instructions. It was following a sequence. It was then that the most disturbing suspicion arose. The mission did not depend on them. They depended on the mission. The expedition was no longer interpreted as an arrival. It began to be understood as an intermediate phase, something that had happened before and was designed to be repeated. From that moment on, exploration of the subsoil was no longer optional. If there was a first cycle, there must be a physical record of what happened, and it had to be buried. The discovery that changed the nature of the expedition occurred underground. Deep below the surface, beneath layers of seemingly endless jungle, sensors detected a density of heavy metals that did not correspond to a natural ecosystem. When they excavated, they found no geological formations. They found collapsed transport tunnels and the remains of a global infrastructure that time had attempted to digest. The definitive proof was the discovery of a vacuum-sealed data storage terminal. Upon activation, the system did not recognize the subjects as explorers, but as critical return units. The files did not speak of a new mission. They spoke of a forced return. The revelation was a sharp blow to their identity. The Earth they believed they came from was not the original. It was only a simulation. This wild world was not an alien planet. It was primordial Earth. The home that humanity had abandoned millennia ago after declaring it uninhabitable. When humanity fled primordial Earth, it paid with its memory. And upon returning, the price remained the same. The planet would only regenerate if human consciousness was erased each time. Amnesia was the eternal toll. Forget in order to escape, and forget in order to start again. Without forgetting, neither escape nor return were possible. The moment the data terminal finished explaining the missing truth, everything fell into place. Primordial Earth was dismantled to fuel the leap to the stars. Our ancestors decided that the planet was a disposable battery that had to be drained to the last drop to power the engines of escape. We are the result of planetary cannibalism. We exist because our species devoured its own home to buy itself a future elsewhere. As soon as the explanation reached its conclusion, the monitoring systems detected a critical deviation. Cognitive activity levels skyrocketed simultaneously in all 10,000 subjects. Comprehension had exceeded the permitted threshold. The alert was activated without human intervention. The system of Ship 2187 executed its final directive. was no time for regret or reflection. A low-frequency tone flooded the ship. It did not pass through the ears. It passed through the body. The disconnection was immediate. "10,000 people collapsed onto the floor of primordial Earth as if their cables had been cut with a stroke of a pen. Ship 2187, which had been silent until then, emitted a roar of residual energy. The collection drones began dragging the lifeless bodies back to the hibernation modules. Carelessly, namelessly, just biological material that needed to be reconfigured. On the terminal screen, a system message flashed over the remains of human history. Adaptation error. Toxic memory detected. Initiating neural network clearance. The reboot process is not to give them a chance. It is to erase the traces of the fire. The price of inhabiting Earth was the same when fleeing as when returning. Surrender your memory. Without that payment, there was no beginning. The video ends with a shot identical to the one at the beginning. The ship hovering over the planet. Absolute silence. And the flashing of the capsules activating again. Year 2187. 10,000 people wake up at the same time inside a ship. None of them remember their names. None of them remember their past. The cycle is complete. Ignorance is, officially, the planet's last line of defense.